Kuhn argued that Darwin's theory constituted a revolution because it abolished teleology from emerging biology. In other words, it removed God from the scientific equation. That is as may be, and we'll certainly see in the second module how the old scientific order was affected by his theory. But when we look at the wider implications of the idea of evolution through natural selection, particularly in terms of the implications it has for the existence or not of a creator or architect of the universe, it is tempting to ask, along with Andrew Marr, rather dramatically, did Darwin kill God? However, what we will see in the course of this lecture is that the relationship between Darwinism and religion, indeed the impact that Darwinism has had upon religion, is ambivalent and deeply complex, but not if you look at it from the edges of the debate where hardline creationists and rampant neo-atheists trade insults and eyeball each other across YouTube and beyond. Welcome to the Way of the Master website and television channel. The Way of the Master is a Christian ministry run by Ray Comfort and the ex-actor Kirk Cameron, and its mission in life seems to be to demolish Darwinism.
Says of Darwinian evolution, it can turn dinosaurs into birds, apes into humans, and amphibious mammals into whales.
I believe in science.
What's your major here at this university?
Biology.
Your biology major?
Yeah.
You believe in evolution?
Yes.
What's your major?
Geology.
Chemistry?
Biochemistry.
Environmental science and policy.
I'm a physicist.
Biochemistry.
Okay, do you believe in evolution?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe in evolution?
Yes, I do. Of course.
Yes, I do.
I do believe in evolution.
You believe in evolution?
Yes.
Are you a strong believer?
Yes.
Are you a strong believer?
Yep. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
A scientific method is based on the collection of data through observation and experimentation. Science Daily.
Could you give me some observable evidence that evolution is true? Something I don't have to receive by faith.
Yeah.
Some observable evidence.
I mean, take a look at what happened 65 million years ago.
Hang on, I can't. That's 65 million years ago.
I believe, millions of years.
So that can't be observed.
We can trace the evolution through the fossil record.
Could you be specific? Just give me one.
Between 6 and 7 million years ago.
Hundreds of thousands to millions of years?
So it's quite a long time?
Yes.
Millions of years?
Yes.
So it can't be observed?
Evolution is not testable over time.
And just as Comfort and Cameron aim to demolish the theories of Darwin, they also aim to demonstrate the designed nature of the universe. Everything is designed by an all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful, creative God. In the example that follows, Comfort decided to use a very old argument that we've already come across and will come across again, Paley's watchmaker argument. But instead of a watch, Comfort chose a generic can of Coke. When we see a can, he argued, we know that it has been designed for our use, for our convenience. We can infer the existence of the designer. We also know that the designer has been thinking of us, making the product easy to use, from its easy-to-hold shape to the ring pull on the top. But instead of a stone or a flower, Paley's examples of evidence of God's design, Comfort, in his infinite wisdom, chose a banana.
Hold this, Kirk. Behold the atheist's nightmare. Now, if you study a well-made banana, you'll find on the far side there are 3 ridges. On the close side, 2 ridges. If you get your hand ready to grip a banana, you'll find on the far side there are 3 grooves, on the close side 2 grooves. The banana and the hand are perfectly made one for the other. You'll find the maker of the banana, Almighty God, has made it with a non-slip surface. It has outward indicators of inward contents: green, too early; yellow, just right; black, too late. Now, if you go to the top of the banana, you'll find, as with the soda can makers, they placed a tab at the top, so God has placed a tab at the top. when you pull the tab, the contents don't squirt in your face. You'll find the wrapper, which is biodegradable, has perforations. Notice how gracefully it sits over the human hand. Notice it has a point at the top for ease of entry. It's just the right shape for the human mouth. It's chewy, easy to digest, and it's even curved toward the face to make the whole process so much easier. Seriously, Kurt, the whole of creation testifies to the genius of God's creative hand.
There was, of course, one major flaw with this line of argument that Comfort's critics were not slow in pointing out. The banana had in effect been produced by human culturation over the course of thousands of years. It was very much a human product of agricultural domestication.
Ray Comfort is a New Zealander living in the United States somewhere. You may know him as the Banana Man. Look him up on YouTube. If you study a well-made banana, you'll find that it perfectly fits the human hand. It has a tab at the top for ease of opening. It's curved towards the face for ease of eating. The whole thing resembles a Monty Python.
Comfort was forced to backtrack, but only so far.
When Ray Comfort challenged Richard Dawkins to a debate on the existence of God, the professor refused, referring to Ray Comfort as the Banana Man and an ignorant fool. Banana Man is a reference to an illustration presented by Comfort, in which he compared the complex design elements of a Coke can to the complex design elements of a banana, in order to demonstrate that thoughtful design by a designer is required for both examples. Over 1 million copies of this illustration were sold in the form of the atheist test. However, atheists removed the Coke can from the video version and sent it across the internet, saying that Comfort believed that the banana was conclusive proof of God's existence, missing the point of the illustration completely. They also said that the banana had been modified over time by man to fit in the palm of the hand, and not by God. But in their effort to make him look foolish, atheists gave Ray Comfort an international platform for his message. His book, You Can Lead an Atheist to Evidence, But You Can't Make Him Think, rocketed up the Amazon.com rankings on its first day of release, moving from number 69,572 to number 38 in 24 hours, and was the #1 book in the categories of religion and atheism on Darwin Day, even bumping out Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion. Comfort apologized for his mistake about the banana, saying, "My apologies for not explaining myself more clearly. I was not aware that the common banana had been so modified through hybridization. However, the truth remains that God gave man the knowledge and ability to modify it so that it perfectly fit into his hand. He did the same with big dogs so they can fit into his car, and with wild cats so that they are perfectly fit for his wife." Ray Comfort, along with actor Kirk Cameron, has debated atheists on ABC's Nightline in 2007, was a platform speaker at American Atheists Incorporated 2001 National Convention, and written many books on atheism, including God Doesn't Believe in Atheists. In reference to Dawkins, Comfort said, in Expelled No Intelligence Allowed, when Ben Stein asked Richard Dawkins, "What do you think is the possibility that intelligent design might turn out to be the answer to some issues in genetics or in evolution?" He answered,
At some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology and designed a form of life that they seeded onto perhaps this planet. Now, that is a possibility and an intriguing possibility, and I suppose it's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the details of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer.
Wait a second. Richard Dawkins thought intelligent design might be a legitimate pursuit?
And that designer could well be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe. But that higher intelligence would itself have had to have come about by some explicable or ultimately explicable process. It couldn't have just jumped into existence spontaneously. That's the point.
So Professor Dawkins was not against intelligent design, just certain types of designers, such as God.
So Professor Dawkins believes that highly intelligent aliens from somewhere else in the universe may have created us. So Ray Comfort has lifted his offer to $20,000 to Professor Dawkins for 30 minutes of his time to explain why he believes that there is no God. He suggested that the debate be called Banana Man versus Alien Man and let the audience decide who is the ignorant fool. What does Professor Dawkins fear? Will there be a debate? Stay informed. Sign up for the free weekly update on www.pulltheplugonatheism.com.
You might argue, and it would be a fair argument, that what we've just witnessed is a dialogue of the death between the two extremes, the outliers of an increasingly polarised battle between science and religion. For the likes of Comfort, Darwinism threatens the very idea of the creator through the theory of natural selection. Clearly he believes that God created everything and probably did so within the Genesis ordained 6 days. For Dawkins, however, God is a delusion. Natural selection negates the need for a creator, indeed disproves the existence of the creator, who is nothing less than an idol to enslave the minds of superstitious people who should really know better. These positions are historically determined, and it is this history that we will explore in this lecture. However, first let's have a look at the twin poles. On the one hand, the battles currently being waged in US courtrooms to curtail the teaching of Darwinism in biology. On the other hand, Dawkins's interventions into the field of theology and ethics through applied Darwinism. So here's one example that only happened just over 10 years ago, in 2002, when the Georgia School District placed the theory not fact stickers on biology textbooks. More recently, in Dover, Pennsylvania, in 2005, the school board ordered that teachers read the statement that you can see there in front of students before beginning their modules on Darwin's theory. The Pennsylvania academic standards require students to learn about Darwin's theory of evolution and eventually to take a standardized test of which evolution is a part. Because Darwin's theory is a theory, it is still being tested as new evidence is discovered. It then goes on to say that Darwin's ideas should be compared to those of the intelligent design movement, a group of so-called scientists who believe that they can infer design in the universe and dedicate their scientific experiments towards that. Some of these individuals have produced the notorious book of Pandas and People, which provides an alternative explanation to the development of life on the planet, behind which stands a creator. Now, in the USA, when there are attempts in education to infiltrate religion, there is usually some form of a backlash. For example, the Civil Liberties Union will sponsor cases to challenge the activities of school boards that want to see intelligent design placed within the classroom. And as on many occasions before, so it happened that the Dover School Board was taken to court by Kitts Miller, one of the parents of the schools affected, and a number of other parents alongside the American Civil Liberties Union. Judge Johnny Jones had to preside over the different arguments between the parents on the one hand, who saw the bringing of intelligent design into the classroom as breaching the First Amendment of the US Constitution that insists that within public schools there should be no religious perspectives taught, and the Dover Area School Board that clearly sought to infiltrate the creationist worldview into the classroom. And there were many different expert witnesses from philosophy, expert witnesses from science. And Johnny Jones had to assess the different positions and make his ruling. We've addressed the seminal question of whether intelligent design is science. We've concluded that it is not. And moreover, that intelligent design cannot uncouple itself from its creationist and thus religious antecedents. The attempts to infiltrate the classroom were rolled back by the US judiciary. Compare this to Richard Dawkins' active resistance towards the likes of Comfort and the school boards who seek to purge Darwinism from the classroom. Dawkins in the last few years has become a warrior for atheism, and it's an atheism that is predicated by Darwin's ideas. So he starts from the position that design in nature might look like evidence for a supreme creator. God, does it look designed? But in point of fact, it's not. And then, once we believe in Darwinism and accept that as the creed by which we live, the theory that shapes our notion of ourselves, the world can be a happier, godless place. Central to this is the idea that natural selection is a much better way of explaining existence than the God hypothesis. Once we've accepted this point of view, atheism follows naturally. And because of what Homo sapiens has become, we can be moral. We don't need God to be moral. And we can be proud of the fact that we're adhering to the great Enlightenment tradition of science over faith, knowledge over delusion. And he goes on to do things like say that children shouldn't be labelled by their parents' religion, that bringing up children in religion is akin to child abuse, and that's basically the tenor of the book. Now, the God delusion is full of all sorts of different arguments. It brings forward the body count argument about how harmful religion has been to the world. And I dare say if we look at the activities of ISIS in Syria and Iraq at the moment, we might feel a great deal of sympathy towards Richard Dawkins's position. Others are not so certain, however. If we take, for example, Terry Eagleton, the literary critic, he points out that there is a simplification of the complex relationship between religion and science in Dawkins's work. Indeed, Dawkins is basically theologically illiterate. As Eagleton said, imagine someone holding forth on biology whose only knowledge of the subject is the Book of British Birds, and you have a rough idea of what it feels like to read Richard Dawkins on theology. And as we go through this lecture, we will see that in many regards, Dawkins's use of natural selection to undermine religion is a very crude way of conceiving of the relationship or the potential relationship between religion and Darwinism. And that will be the subject of the modules that follow.